Hey everybody, I'm live. So I was going to do my what I watched this week video, but I have actually watched so many movies over the past week or so that I really wanted to talk about all of them, and I don't really have the time tonight. I got some other stuff I got to do, and so I wanted to go live with the video I was going to do tomorrow, but I'm going to do it tonight instead. And then tomorrow or the next day, I'll go live and talk about the movies that I've watched over the last really week and a half or week since I did that last video. So, yes, this update is only Twilight time. And crap, I don't even think this is all of them. This is a big portion of it. I'm missing one, but I showed that in the live stream I did earlier, and I'll mention that. Dang, I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. Other than, I think, one that I had before. But pretty much over the last couple weeks, the only thing I've actually bought is Twilight Time titles. For those of you who don't know, Twilight Time releases films. They get licensed films. It's up there with like Criterion in terms of in terms of being a collectible. They're not really heavy on special features and stuff, but they get really great transfers of films, and I don't think they don't actually do the transfers themselves, but they get the highest quality transfer of a film that they have the rights to release. They release it, and usually it's if they had a previous Blu-ray edition that had some other special features, sometimes they'll be on there. Theatrical trailers, there's always an essay, but they're really big with film scores. And so every single Twilight Time release has an isolated score track, or a film isolated score track, to where all you hear is the score. So yes, so right here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Twilight Time titles that I've bought. They've had like a major sale lately because some of these are films that, Twilight Time, the way they work is usually their films are like $30, and they have, they get very limited. Each Twilight Time is a limited release, and I mean, some are 1,000, some are 2,000. A lot of them, I would say most of them are 3,000. And so that's what all these are 3,000. And yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and get started. I haven't watched 2 of these yet. Well, actually, I really have actually only not seen one of these films. And so let's just go ahead and get started, shall we? So the first thing that I got and the sale was like a lot of their titles. Some were like $8.99, some were $14.99, and I'm not even sure if that sale's going on. But they do these sales every once in a while, and it makes it really worth it. All right, so the first title I got was The Chase with Marlon Brando, Robert Redford. We have Angie Dickinson, Robert Duvall, James Fox. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I said Robert Duvall. Yeah, so obviously I said Marlon Brando. This film is produced by Sam Spiegel, who did like Bridge on the River Kwai and a bunch of other films, Lawrence of Arabia. And it's directed by Arthur Penn, who directed I'm having a brain fart. Who directed what? Gosh, how am I forgetting? Arthur Penn directed Bonnie and Clyde and a bunch of other movies too. Yes, thanks, Cooper Glover, 1972. How are you? Thank you for that. I cannot believe I just had that brain fart. And so basically, Robert Redford plays a fugitive who escapes with a guy who ends up killing somebody right outside prison when they're trying to escape. Um, and they're escaping towards this town. The town is a bunch of rude freaking people in it, and just gossipers and drama kings and queens and everything. Um, and Marlon Brando plays the sheriff. He's kind of a soft-spoken sheriff who everybody in town's starting to know that the fugitive's getting ready to come back, and all the drama that goes along with that. And it is a very good film. Um, I was supposed to see Arthur Penn at the Jacob Burns Film Center, but he died before he could be there. Oh man, that would have been awesome. Anytime there's ever a chance to meet like a filmmaker or something like that, I would so try to make it happen. Um, so yeah, this was, and I'll talk more about this film and like my reactions to the film and my thoughts on it the next time, or when I do the what I watched this week video, which hopefully will be tomorrow or the next day. Marlon Brando is one of my favorite actors. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite actors too. Um, but Jane Fonda was another one that I mentioned. I was sold on this film based on the cast alone. I had never seen it before. So we got Marlon Brando, Jane Fonda, Robert Redford, Angie Dickinson, and Robert Duvall were my reasons. I was like, I gotta buy that just for the cast alone. So yeah, The Chase. Next up, is probably I will talk about this more in my next video. Hey Noah, I got your videos in my playlist that I'll be watching this weekend. I've been really crazy busy. I've barely been able to watch anything. So it's the weekend, so I'll be able to catch up. So this film I hadn't heard of ever, and I bought it because of the cast. Harry and Walter Go to New York has has James Caan, Michael Caine, Elliot Gould, Diane Keaton. Has Charles Durning in it as well. The reason why I'm laughing is because this film is kind of like a period heist movie, and it's a comedy, kind of in the way of The Sting, but a lot more comedic. Yeah, Kubrick lover. Like, I had never heard of this either, and I had to get it alone based on the fact that it has had terrible reviews when it came out, and also almost bankrupted one of the studios involved. I mean, it says Columbia Pictures, but they lost so much money on this movie. James Caan talks crap about it basically these days. But basically, James Caan and Elliot Gould play two vaudeville artists who are just kind of, they're idiots, and they stumble across a situation where they end up in jail because they're trying to take the money from their audience, and they're thrown in jail, and they share a cell with Michael Caine's character, who is a very popular and successful bank robber. And they have like a little conflict, and it's basically turns into the two guys are like, I mean, they're complete idiots, and they're like, hey, let's try to rob this bank before Michael Caine does. And Diane Keaton plays a newspaper reporter who's doing a story on the whole situation, and she actually has like a group of people that are willing to help James Caan and Elliot Gould. They're kind of like the protagonist, and Michael Caine is the antagonist of the film. It is ridiculous. It's crazy, over the top in every way possible. With that said, it is not a good movie, but I enjoyed it from beginning to end, and it may be a film that I just watch a lot because it is so fun. Stupid, but fun. That was kind of like a mini review, and I'll go more in depth about this when I talk about my what I watched this week video, as I keep saying. Next up, I'm mentioning now the movie that I left downstairs was, and I think I may have showed it in an update, but I did show it in the video, and it's Woody Allen's Manhattan Murder Mystery, another movie that I really loved. Now, these two films, this one's an upgrade, and this one is adding to no, this one, they're both upgrades. Woody Allen's Bananas from 1971. I really, really like this movie too. It has a very early cameo appearance, basically, as with Sylvester Stallone as a extra. Yes. Yeah, this movie is so hilarious. And then next is his film from 1982, A Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy. This is an upgrade, but I have seen this one. I haven't seen Everything You Want to Know About Sex and We're Afraid to Ask. That's the Woody Allen film I haven't seen. And so that means I have most of his movies on Blu-ray, but I have most of his movies that are in print on Twilight time on Blu-ray now. So yes. Next up is a film that I have not seen. I was sold on the cover, the poster art alone, and I was sold on the fact that I had not heard any good things about it. From some people I have, but the last stream, Sylvester Stallone is sort of like a thug in Bananas, as I recall. Yeah, when Woody's character, I forgot his name in the film, Fielding Mellish, when he's in the subway. Sylvester Stallone is one of the guys that try to rough him up. And I remember when I first saw that, like, I think I was young when I saw that. I was like, hey, it's Rocky. And my mom was like, no, this is many years before he was Rocky. So this film, I was sold on it alone after a stream I did I think it was one of the last streams I talked about Twilight time. And my buddy Jeff came in here and he was telling me, I was talking about this film, and he told me I need to see it. Or he said that that he liked it a lot for its schlockiness and for its just kind of being over the top. And what am I talking about? The badly reviewed film by Sidney Pollack, Bobby Deerfield, with Al Pacino. Basically, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just know it's kind of like a tragic love story / driving racing movie. Yeah. So it has Al Pacino, who, it's funny if you look at like the reviews on like a letterbox for this movie, it's basically a bunch of people that are like, either I love this movie or they're like, I hate this movie, but it was watchable because Al Pacino is so sexy and that kind of stuff. And like, so there's a bunch of those comments. So I was like, an Al Pacino movie that a lot of people don't like. Hello! What's up, Luke? Yeah, so an Al Pacino a lot of people don't like. An Al Pacino movie that a lot of women like just purely because they say he's beautiful in it. Terrible movie, maybe. And then my buddy Jeff was like, see it. I really enjoy the movie for how, bad it is, basically. And I was like, okay. So I picked it up. Bobby Deerfield. We're trucking along with all these Twilight Time titles. I think I've grown my Twilight Time collection. I think it's like 15 now. I remember for a long time I only had like 2. And I'm probably not going to be able to buy a lot more for a while because I've definitely thrown out a lot of money as of late. Quarantine, in terms of the quarantine with buying movies. Next up is a film that my wife really loves, and I really love like Jane Austen films. I was kind of like not really into them for like, growing up and stuff, and then I really like films that are like based off of literature and stuff like that. And so this was one of the Jane Austen adaptations that I had never seen, and I've seen pretty much any Jane Austen book that's been made into a movie or a miniseries. I've seen them. I love Pride and Prejudice with like Keira Knightley. I liked the Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth. I really, really like the BBC adaptation miniseries from like 2010 or 11, maybe even earlier, with Johnny Lee Miller and I forget her name, but it's Emma. I really enjoyed that one. I actually watched that in a previous 24-hour movie marathon. Okay, I digress. I keep going back and talking for a long time, but that's all good. Sense and Sensibility on Twilight time. So I saw this for the first time, I think a couple months ago, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. And so we've had it on DVD for a while, and I told my wife, I was like, we need to upgrade this. This DVD is so old um, that this DVD is so old that the DVD that I had is so old. She got it like when it first came out on DVD, and it's so old that I put it in my 4K Blu-ray player, and it's like window boxed. So like it's an old school DVD that's not anamorphic widescreen. So even though it looked terrible, it was really, really it was really good. And so I went online and I looked, and I was like, okay, it's Sensibility on Blu-ray. And at the time, they weren't having a Twilight time sale. So it was, yes, it was on Amazon for like $50 or $49 or $40, depending on what seller it was. So I finally saw this on the Screen Archives website, picked it up, surprised my wife with it. And so, yeah. And this has all the previous special features and more from that special, so-called special edition DVD release. Yeah, and this is the film that Emma Thompson won a Best Screenplay. She wrote the screenplay for this film, and she won the Oscar for Best Screenplay. And pretty sure, yes. And then, as you can see behind me, we have bookshelves like all over the house. Like how I am with movies, that's how my wife is with books. And I think she has like 5 or 6 copies of each like Jane Austen book, and I know one of the copies of just different editions, like a Penguin Classics edition. Sometimes there'll be a fancier edition, but I got her a Sense and Sensibility, but it's annotated by Emma Thompson, and it actually has her screenplay in it as well. I might be remembering this wrong. It may be her screenplay, and it's annotated by her. That may be what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was a really, really good film. Kate Winslet, Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, Alan Rickman blew me away in this film. It was so weird seeing him as like against type, I guess you could say. Like he was like a really charming, like romantic lead per se, because he's not like the lead character. Yeah, so I've picked up a ton of Twilight times. I just started collecting Twilight time. Very happy with the ones I do have. Yeah, I don't think there's one that I have. The first one I ever bought was American Buffalo, the film that David Mamet wrote based on his play. Noah. I think this might be one of the only movies that Kate Winslet doesn't go topless in. Yeah, I think he may be right. Yeah, American Buffalo. It has Dustin Hoffman in it and Dennis Franz, and that was my first Twilight time release. I got it at the time because I love everything that David Mamet does. I have some of his books. I have some of his plays. I have some of his screenplays in book form. A lot of his movies, and got that because of the cast and the fact that he wrote it. But Twilight time was like or the Screen Archives, who for a while was like exclusive to the Twilight time titles. Um, they were like, oh, we only have like 20 or 30 more in stock. Get it while you can. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to get a movie that's going to be rare. And it's not really that popular of a movie. And so I bought it like a few years ago, and it's still for sale on the website. So that means they haven't even sold them out yet. But there's a ton of titles that are out of print. So I guess while I'm talking, I'll just have the Twilight time titles to the side here. So yeah, I may squeeze out like another one or two over the next few weeks. I might get some more, but I really went overboard with buying some movies. I work at a hospital, so I've been working nonstop during the coronavirus and stuff. So I kind of did it as like a treat, like I was treating myself. So on the weekends or whenever I got off, I would actually try to put it to words. That's not going to work. Let's just do that. Just kind of treating myself, and I kept freaking going down the rabbit hole of add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to get one and pay $6 for shipping, I think I'm going to just get a few more and make it worth it. So that's what ended up happening. So go back to the chat here. No, I haven't bought any movies in months. I got 10 or 11 movies for free 2 days ago, though. That's awesome that you got some free movies. I mean, you could even just look back on my channel. I went through a period of time where I was buying like maybe one thing. Thanks for helping people during the pandemic, Ryan. Oh, you're very welcome. It's been very, very interesting going through all this. I don't really talk about my personal life and my job and stuff on YouTube or anything like that in terms of like what I do. But I will say that I am my job was directly impacted at the hospital by the pandemic, and so I wasn't one of the ones that was, a lot of hospitals have laid people off or cut their hours. I was one of the ones that were still there with and doing. I'm not a doctor, or else I would continue to buy movies. But yeah, so it's been interesting for sure. What was I talking about? Yeah, so I'll probably end up squeezing some more money out just to get some more movies. The Fortune Cookie was my first Twilight Time Blu-ray. I got that that Twilight Time Blu-ray a few months ago, and I got it because, as I've said in previous videos and stuff, I love Billy Wilder films, and that film. See, like I did one of my previous streams was a Billy Wilder stream, and I talked about my top 5 Billy Wilder films. Fortune Cookie is one of them, and usually when I watch it for like a week afterwards, I'm like, that's my favorite Billy Wilder film by far. Then I watch Sunset Boulevard, and I'm like, oh man, that's my favorite Billy Wilder film. And then I watch Double Indemnity, and I say the same thing. And then I watch The Apartment. So that's the Fortune Cookie is always up there for me. So, and I love the cover, the artwork for the Fortune Cookie Blu-ray. But there's not a bunch more Twilight Time that really got my eye this time. Or I pretty much bought all the ones that I really, really wanted. Of course, I could go on there and just start splurging and just buying things left and right that I haven't seen. But I didn't really have a hook. There was no hook. Like, at least with Sensibility, I've seen it. Bobby Deerfield, Al Pacino. I'll always watch something Al Pacino's in. Woody Allen films. That's a given. James Caan, Michael Caine, Elliot Gould, Diane Keaton. Come on, like you can't go wrong with that cast. Marlon Brando, Robert Redford, Jane Fonda, Robert Duvall. Like, there has to be a hook if I have not seen a movie for me to buy it. Um, and I didn't really see a bunch of other hooks. And if I did, I already had like 3 things in my cart, and I wasn't gonna spend that much more money. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, in the next day or so, I'll be going live and talking about all the movies that I've watched over the past week. That's probably going to be a longer stream. Panic in Needle Park. Yes, that is one of the one that is. I actually was gonna buy that one, but I did not. I have the film on DVD. I have it on my YouTube TV DVR'd, and that hasn't gone away. And it's been since I got YouTube TV that I have that had that DVR'd in HD. And I actually just watched it recently, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna spend the money on a movie that that has Al Pacino in it that I hadn't seen, and then eventually I'll get it. Yeah, Panic in Needle Park is the one that convinced him, Francis Ford Coppola, to cast him in The Godfather. So yeah, that next video of what I watched is definitely going to be a long one, because I've watched, for me, 10 movies probably over the last like week and a half, and I have something to say about every single one of them, including some of the ones that are in this pile that I want to go. I definitely want to go more in depth on Harry and Walter Go to New York, because it was just, there's so many things about this film that it should not work, and it probably doesn't work, but I enjoyed every single freaking second of it. Funny little trivia, the one of the producers and one of the guys who came up with the story, not the screenwriter, he's not one of the screenwriters, but he came up with the story, is Don Devlin, who is the father of Dean Devlin, I think that's his name, producer of such hits as Independence Day, Godzilla, the 1998 version. So I guess you could say Godzilla in name only. So I got a ton of things I want to talk about. I've seen a bunch of new films. Basically, since I got rid of cable and I have YouTube TV, I've been basically only watching Turner Classic Movies, which I've always watched my whole life pretty much ever since it came out. Pretty much consistently always watched Turner Classic Movies, but pretty much only exclusively been watching movies off of that, other than, you know, some stuff on Netflix and Amazon Prime. I've pretty much only been watching TCM, DVRing stuff, looking on their on-demand options on YouTube TV, and I've been watching a ton of new movies for me. Yeah, taste is subjective. I used to have people comment on videos back in the day, like at least like 5 or 6 years ago, that'd be like, how dare you talk about Citizen Kane and Jack and Jill in the same video? I'm like, yes, Jack and Jill is a terrible movie, but I mean, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I don't believe in needing to feel guilty about something just because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Jack and Jill for this terrible movie that it was. And plus Al Pacino doing a dance. Come on. It is a terrible movie, and I haven't watched it in years. But when I first watched it, I had a ton of fun with it. You know, that's why I could watch a lot of those movies. I just think that I'm okay with, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like watching bad reviewed films, and I'm like, okay, you don't, just because the critics hated it. I was like, if you go back in time and look at a lot of films, Wet Movie 1, Ryan in the House. Oh yeah, man, I'm in the house. Just been talking about Twilight time releases that I've picked up over the last while. Yeah, so like, I really just think that, you know, I hate it when people comment on videos and they're like, man, that movie's terrible. How dare you talk to it, or you talk about it? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I enjoy what I enjoy. And like, I'm tired of feeling ashamed, or I don't feel ashamed, but I'm tired of people trying to make you feel ashamed for liking bad things or something like that. I'm like, you know, you like what you like. And so that was one of the reasons too why I didn't make videos for a while. But you know, it is what it is, and now I just don't care. I'll post about a movie that even though people might hate it, they might talk crap about it, and I'm like, hey, I really enjoyed it. So that's why I can't wait to talk about Harry and Walter Go to New York. Because if you look on Letterboxd and stuff and on IMDb, this movie has terrible, terrible reviews. I mean, horrific reviews. James Caan even hates this movie, but I had fun with every single second of it. All right, before I head out, let's go back to the comments. Let's see. Noah, like, I think I'm going to like Cats 2019. Yeah, you know, I can't even judge that because, I mean, Cats is Cats. It might be a terrible movie, but, like, if you go into it with a good mood, you might enjoy the heck out of it. Like, that's what I've found. Because there's been some great reviewed movies that I haven't enjoyed, and then there's some bad reviewed movies that I have enjoyed. So, you know, people could be all up in arms about what you like, but, you know, I like what I like, and I'm going to continue to talk about what I like. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, expect that video sometime over the next couple days. Still working on 24-hour movie marathon year 8. I think that's the one I haven't put up yet. And I'm still in the process of planning 9 so I could finally do it. But I cannot believe I have not put up that video, even though I did the marathon last year. I watched Spaceballs today and didn't care for it. You know, I loved Spaceballs as a kid, and I like it now, but I prefer other Mel Brooks films. What movie won? Yeah, they put out some cool stuff. Yeah, Twilight Time puts out a ton of good stuff, and stuff that I wouldn't even think about. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for jumping in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, one last comment. Hoping to make it to Jack's to see Norman Studios. Yes, you need to. Wasn't it you a while ago who said that you were planning to come to Jack's? And that was one of the things you were going to do, or come near here and you were going to go there. I remember that. Wow, I remembered that. I think that was a while ago. I forgot what video it was on. I feel like it wasn't this year. I feel like maybe it was last year, or... Oh, yeah. Okay, Harry. Oh, yeah. I can see your picture now. Oh, so yeah, you do live near... I mean, you pretty much live near me. North Central Florida, right? Yeah, definitely next time you come, definitely drop by Norman Studios. I haven't... Yeah, Live Oak. Oh, you're very nearby compared to some of the other people in this chat. Yeah, because I know you came to Jack's recently. I'm pretty sure Norman Studios is eventually going to open up a museum soon. They got landmark status. They've got a lot of funding. And so hopefully they're going to be opening and doing a full-on museum. Right now, you could go there and see it from the outside. But you have to go to, like, the Museum of Science and History here to actually see some of the stuff that was in there. But, yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to run back downstairs and continue doing what I was doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Harry, I'm so glad that you mentioned that it was you. And now that because I'm looking at this on my phone and I can't barely see the little thumbnail. But anyways, yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy. Have a good evening. Stay safe.